there's a lot of people out there who I think want to evolve human consciousness in directions that ain't for the highest benefit of all,
Hmm.
that are self-serving, charitably, and even detrimental, harmful, seeking to play pretend as God without doing the necessary inner shadow work to evolve to a place where that would not be immediately horribly self-destructive for them. So I think that as we're exploring this concept of intentional evolution, it feels important to me that the backdrop intention that's just taken as another given is that this process of taking ownership of how we evolve is always explicitly for the highest benefit of all sentient life.
Yeah. Yeah, that's such a good add. And I think that brings it full circle right back around to kind of what I was saying in the exploration of just the word evolution itself is I think what we sometimes don't think about, or rather, I think in the like sort of popcorn, pop culture, superficial, I just love, I just want to take a moment and acknowledge this like rainstorm that
Yeah,
started
yeah,
immediately when we started talking about this. And
it's so
like
nice.
I think the first time I said the phrase intentional evolution, this wind blew through
Yeah, that's right.
and then it started raining. And then now when just said those words a moment ago, there was thunder. It's just super cool. Synchronicity to our talk. But anyway, the superficial idea I think that we get of evolution, maybe like as kids in school growing up or from wherever we get these ideas from, is that it's this sort of inexorable march of progress, that it's inherently good. I think that we maybe absorb that idea through the concept
I would agree.
that it's like, oh yeah, evolution is good, or it's always going in one direction, which is from, let's say, simpler to more complex, or worse to better, or
More chaotic to more orderly.
less abundant to more abundant. You get the idea that it's always this march of progress and improvement. And I would propose that evolution as a process is probably inherently neutral, and it can probably go in all different ways, in all different directions. And it seems obvious that that's the case. Even just look at the trajectory of civilizations or societies. Many times there's a process of growth and increasing of abundance and complexity and density and structure and so forth. And then the process may reverse itself and go in the other direction. And things may slowly deconstruct or devolve or fall apart. So I think that's a big part of it. And the point that you brought in about like the value, there is, at least in our philosophy, a fundamental value behind our intention, which is the highest good of all beings, is super important because to your point, there can be intent and there can even be evolution, which may be taking things in a direction, whether intentionally or unintentionally, that does not feel like it is to our benefit, our improvement, or betterment. So that is the kind of intentional evolution that we seek to create, is the idea of self-ownership and self-awareness and self-direction of our evolution, but explicitly to the good.
Yes, totally. I'm actually curious, what do you sense, Vision, are some of the primary ways that humanity right now is already experiencing intentional evolution?
Oh, yeah. Well, certainly I think that we have been engaging in intentional evolution as a species for a very long time. I think you could even look at other species that are potentially also intentionally evolving in some ways or others. But I mean, a very easy example is just, let's say, crop cultivation. We choose and actually interfere in a way, or we interact with the genetic breeding process of other creatures that we share this ecosystem with in very intentional ways. And so if you just look at our diet as an easy example, over the last several hundred or several thousand years, we've certainly changed ourselves physically a lot just in the period of time of recorded history, for sure. So I think that's an example of intentional evolution. But I think more to the point you're getting at, which is the point where we're both going, is thinking about, I think, more recent developments of our self-awareness, psychologically speaking and culturally speaking. And so I think that's where I want to offer a reflection back to you, kind of like you did for me earlier about my portfolio and the benefits that you've gained from that, and say that, like, I think your technology, your psychotechnology sovereign mind is right over the target, or right in the sweet spot of what I think intentional evolution is all about, which is about taking ownership and becoming a self creator of our own inner world, at least to the extent that we take ownership of our physical bodies, to take ownership of our psychology, our belief system, to be able to rewrite our own software in intentional ways, again, that are toward the highest good. Like, that's an example, I think, of where we're really starting to have a breakthrough as a species now.
I would agree 100%. And I love the term psychotecture as a means to describe the synthesis between energy, mind, and body. And my sense is that any species that gains free will to make alterations and then intentionally change or intentionally evolve its own psychotecture is poised to potentially quantum leap in some unknown and unknowable number of ways. Because if you have the ability to uninstall legacy programming from the childhood environment that once upon a time maybe seemingly kept us safe, a belief system like I'm not enough, I'm not worthy, and I don't deserve it. From my own personal story, these three beliefs were very primary in my experience for at least 20 years of my life. It's two decades. And these beliefs served as fuel for me to motivate myself to achieve and go out and produce and work hard and always work harder out of fear of not being good enough. And it played a very instrumental role, these three key components, these beliefs, these energy structures, in like the development of my ego and becoming the Nick Runlet who I was, going all the way into my early and mid 20s.